Good evening, everyone. My name is William Iannuzzi. I'm president of the Board of Education. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Iannuzzi,
Here.
Ms. Barrios Brooks, Ms. Castellano Minaya, Ms. Clayton Fernandez, Ms. Lewis, Ms. Ross, Mr. Singal,
Here.
Mr. Vega,
Here.
Ms. Williams. A quorum is present.
Colleagues, can I get a motion and a second to go immediately into executive session to meet with district council and discuss the employment history of particular persons, which may lead to the employment of a particular person?
So moved, Williams.
Second Vega.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are going to go into an executive session, which will be out around 7-ish, and we will reconvene the public session of the meeting at that time.
Oh, good.
This one here. Awkward pause last time.
Yeah, we're gonna avoid all that. Check, check. It's good. Yep. I think it's good.
And then that's more so for Dr. Roberts. She's that.
And then the mouse will be right here. Yeah.
Right, so just make sure you click back on it. So you're here, right? Move the mouse so it looks. Now you let me know when you get to the slide.
Yeah, no, it's from there on.
So right here.
No, we're gonna start earlier. We're just gonna kind of talk through those slides as part of the go forward.
Backwards or forward?
Forward.
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 Let me know when.
Right there.
Right there. You
Yep.
want me to pull up the website?
Yep, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so platform overview and guided.
Can I leave it up like this? Because we're gonna come back and show them how to access it at the end. Okay, and then maybe can you just pull up the website here? Perfect. She's not up here. Uh-oh. The community engagement dashboard? No. Monica should have just made it live. Yep. Oh yeah, refresh. She there you go. Phew. There. So I'm just gonna leave this. Oh. Perfect. So this one I'm just gonna be in it already and then show them how to get into it on their own. Actually, you know what? I'll just go from the beginning. Hey, I am. In for a show. The dashboard? Community engagement dashboard? Are you? Thank you. Team effort. Awesome. We can leave it on that page. Yep. You'll click that. Okay. I click it? Okay. Okay. Awesome.
I'm not gonna make the same mistake. Or are you playing? time. And there's an awkward silence that I do not like.
Can we put that, because that's gonna be in the way of my.
Yeah, yeah, we can put it anywhere. Would you like it?
Who gave us these?
Let's put these here.
Ooh, that doesn't come out. I was trying to see if I could use that as my. Open this up. Can it then fit there?
Yeah.
Just a tad.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh,
Sorry.
knock it over either. Testing, testing. Ooh, is this
Yeah.
gonna be in the way?
It might be, yeah, because Jim is also.
Okay. So both, it's gonna be an echo, so he has to turn that on?
No,
Okay, you're gonna do it?
they don't even, they literally both work together.
Oh,
So they both go
Okay.
on to the same channel instead of
Okay.
it being split and echoing. So go ahead.
okay. Testing, testing. I don't hear anything. Is it on?
Yeah.
So we don't need this then,
I mean, technically, no, I could raise it for him,
and I think he can too.
right?
Oop. Yeah, if we just tell him to do what? I'll tell you when he's gonna need it. He's coming in so you can jump up very quickly.
Okay. Yeah, because honestly,
Yeah.
this is a little bit.
Yeah, he's coming in at slide 9,
Slide 9.
okay? So I'm gonna bring in slide 9, so when you see me say, at this time, Jim is going to launch,
Oh,
you come.
that's
And
right. He
then,
said he wants me to, to show the website.
that's not when, he's
Oh.
gonna tell you when to do it.
Okay.
I'm just introducing him. He's gonna do slides 9 through 16. When
Okay.
he's going to do the launch is, let's look at an actual deck.
Let me tighten this up. Oh, no, it is. I tested it.
Okay.
Tested it. And I also put the mic stand so that way
Okay.
all Mr. Anderson would have to do is raise it.
Okay, so just tell him that then,
Okay.
so he knows. So this is when it's gonna go, ooh, that seems like in my face.
I know.
But then
know.
I won't be able to turn the page.
So then we'll do this.
'Cause I'm gonna need to be able not to hit it, see? Okay, let me do that. Then I'm gonna, yeah. So can it be maybe in front?
Yeah.
So it's not in the way? That's still too low. 'Cause it's-
All right.
I
That's
don't wanna
perfect then.
hit
You know
it.
why? I won't have to adjust too much for Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. Okay, then, okay. Yeah, I just want to be able to be able to turn this, yeah. So
It's
Jim,
not the way.
so Jim, this is the slide where it's gonna go live. It clearly states it.
Okay, so don't listen to what he was.
This is, what did he say?
He told me to.
Oh, yeah, because he's gonna walk them
Yeah,
through.
He told me to.
This
Once I
slide?
see this
Uh-huh.
slide and he gets introduced,
Uh-huh,
run up, flip it, so that way
That's
he has
fine.
control of the mouse.
then do it.
Sure?
Then do what he says,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yes, don't mind me, do what Jim
Okay,
says.
all right, no worries.
Okay,
Then I gave him his mouse down there, so he'll be able to.
okay, awesome sauce. So I just need to be able to come and do my thing, and then I come back at the end to do moving forward.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to.
Okay, okay. Maybe if you put it, because I'm left-handed, can you put it on this side? There we go. So then it's not in, because I'm gonna flip.
Okay,
Yeah. There we go. That's better.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You also talk.
I do?
Yeah, you talk properly.
Oh.
Everybody else cowers. You have.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Slit, you could turn on that lady's mic.
Good evening, everyone. Apologize for the lateness of our executive session. We are about to reconvene the public session of the meeting, so colleagues, can I get a motion second to reconvene the public session of the meeting?
So moved Castellano Minaya.
Second, Brooks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So first item on the agenda is the recognition of our retirees. We had a really nice reception at 4 o'clock. And then Corey, I'll throw it over to you to start that process.
Good evening, public. Good evening to our members who are here in the audience and to those who are watching at home or at a later date. It is my pleasure to share with you that this evening we recognized all of the individuals who have been working here in the City School District of New Rochelle who have chosen or elected to retire this year. As a matter of fact, we have 49 members of our community who are retiring, with a cumulative amount of years of service as students of 1,174 years. A part of what I shared with that community is that, we always celebrate those individuals who have gone through their probation and have earned the right for tenure. And usually they're either just starting in the organization or starting in the profession. It's equally important that we recognize all of the individuals who have served time. That sounds bad. Let me change that. Individuals who, thank you, Mary Claire, for laughing. Individuals who have worked with children in this district, because it is not just a profession, it's a calling. For someone to come and work with children, to be in the place of their parent, to not just give an extra pair of eyes or an extra set of hands, but an extra heart on a daily basis, means so much to us. So we are so grateful for individuals who spent their time here with us to work with the children of New Rochelle, and I hope that this evening we can bring them congratulations, and we hope to see them again in the future. Again, I'm going to put in a plug. Any of those individuals who are retired, who get bored at home in retirement, we invite you to come back to be a substitute here in the City School District of New Rochelle, just so we can marvel over how much younger you look then than how you look now. So with that, Mr. President, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reynolds. Next up on the agenda is our Board of Education announcements. Do any of my colleagues have any announcements they would like to make? Ms. Williams?
It's on.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. And I want to say congratulations to all of our scholars who are graduating or moving up to the next grade. Thank you to our students and families and teachers and faculty and staff and administrators in the New Rochelle School District. And also tomorrow, I have the honor and privilege to speak at the Isaac E. Young Middle School graduation tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And it will be at the New Rochelle High School campus. I'm looking forward to greeting our scholars, our families, our faculty and staff, and administrators. And I graduated from IUI, so this is something that makes me really proud. I'm excited.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anybody else have any announcements? Ms. Castellano-Manaya?
I would like to congratulate our superintendent, Dr. Corey Reynolds, on his upcoming anniversary of almost 1 year as our superintendent. I do not know about his wedding anniversary, but yes, shout out Tara Reynolds if you're out there watching. No, but it is truly such a joy to partner in this work together with you on behalf of our students, our staff, our community. I could not be more proud, and I just want to acknowledge that you have been such a partner in helping guide and steady our work together, centering students always as our North Star. And I thank you and congratulations on your upcoming anniversary.
Ms. Brooks.
Last week, I think, or the week before, I went to the Jefferson moving up ceremony, and it was beautiful and amazing to see the balloons lift and to hear the music of the students. So I really wanted to thank all of our principals, all of our teachers, all of our school staff who make those celebrations so very special to the families. We've been going to award ceremonies and moving up ceremonies, and on Wednesday, many of us will be at the high school graduation. And those are really big events with a lot of production, and it couldn't happen if the teams in our schools didn't make it happen. So thank you all for that, and congratulations to all of the graduates. It's really amazing to see all of our students ready for their next step, whether that's middle school, high school, or whatever comes after high school.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Ms. Clayton.
I had the pleasure of going to the Ward moving up ceremony this past week. And it was a little bit emotional because that was the school that all three of my children did their moving up. I can't tell you how long ago, but it's been a while. So it was wonderful to see Principal Mealy because he was the principal that was in my daughter's class. And I have to say the auditorium, everything looked the same. The feeling was the same. But what was particularly wonderful was to see the kids and how small they seem, and they grow so fast. So for you parents out there with these moving up ceremonies, take a lot of pictures because the changes come fast.
Thank you, Ms. Clayton. Ms. Ross?
All right. So I had the pleasure of attending the Webster moving up ceremony myself. My daughter is graduating. Tomorrow, I will also be attending Albert Leonard because my other daughter will be graduating. I just want to actually just congratulate all of our parents, families, graduates on a successful year, all the folks that have moving up ceremonies, just moving from kindergarten to first grade, all of the things that are happening at the end of the year. And I also wanted to thank Dr. Reynolds, all of our administrators. We've had a successful school year and look forward to the next year, but congratulations on finishing up this year very strong. And as my colleague, Ms. Manaya mentioned, it is our 1-year anniversary. And I was just thinking about it the other day, like, how long has Dr. Reynolds been our superintendent? I thought it was like 4 years, but I realized it's because you've been in the district for that long, but you've only been 3, excuse me. But you've only been superintendent for 1. So congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Mr. Single?
Just to echo everyone's comments, I was at Davis last week, and it is just a lot of fun. It was an hour with a big smile, and wish everyone congratulations as well.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure to speak at the Barnard, Columbus, and Trinity graduation so far, and I'll be speaking at the high school one, and I know the high school one's going to be a very emotional one. But it's been a whirlwind of events in the district in the month of June, and it's kind of weird. This is our last meeting of the school year, and it doesn't feel like it because usually we're saying goodbye to people and we have a ceremony at the end. But this will be the same board that you see at a reorg meeting on July 2nd. But I just want to thank my colleagues for the past year. It's been an interesting one, but it's been a good one. I think, especially with the first year of Dr. Reynolds, we've are getting some work done that in the past hasn't been getting done. So I want to thank my colleagues for making this a very fruitful year. And then shout out to David Peters and Margaret Bavosa for starting the year with us. But they were integral as well to some of the successes we've had this year. So thank you guys. Next up on the agenda is the superintendent's update. So Dr. Reynolds, I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you very much again, President Iannuzzi. In the interest of time this evening, I will forego my superintendent's report with the exception of stating that tomorrow we will be hosting our 2 middle schools moving up ceremonies, their graduations. Tomorrow morning, we start over at Isaac Young in the morning, and then in the late morning, early afternoon, we will be over at Albert Leonard Middle School. And then on Wednesday is the 126th commencement of the New Rochelle High School and their graduation ceremony. So we're eagerly looking forward to that. Fingers are crossed for weather for both. Please wear light colored clothing. Please, bless you. Please, be sure to bring an umbrella with you just to be sure. And I'm going to make a very special plea. We will be streaming the graduation live. So if you have a health concern and sitting outdoors might prove to be a little bit too much for your health, we really implore you to make a good decision to keep yourself safe and also to make sure that your family member who might be graduating is not overly concerned with your health and safety. So please keep that in mind, and we look forward to fantastic graduations to end our year. With that, Mr. President, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Reynolds. We might need a sunscreen on our heads for Wednesday. Next up is the discussion is the community engagement dashboard presentation. So Dr. Reynolds, I'll throw it back over to you just to set the stage.
Good evening to the board and again to the public. I would like to say it is such an honor and a pleasure to be here to present to you something that has been asked for and promised for such a long time. Many moons ago, when this administration or a form of it came into existence here in the City School District of New Rochelle, one of the items that we placed on our strategic plan, our strategic roadmap, was that we would be sharing information with our public in real time and accessible to everyone at any time and accessible to people in many different languages. We are prepared to take one step closer this evening to making that a reality, and it must go mentioned that this has been an arduous and tedious job because I will state something that many people will chuckle at who are in this room and those who are watching at home. We know that data makes the invisible visible. I'm not going to tell you who says that, but she's wearing red. So with that being said, we want to ensure that the data that we are presenting to you in real time is accurate, but it's also earnest and honest. So we are not hiding behind the veil of ignorance. We are going to make sure that any data that is available to us is available to the district. But we also want to ensure that what we are presenting is presentable. So when we talk about the dashboard this evening, please understand that this is the first iteration of the dashboard. It is not the complete dashboard that will take some time to develop. It is a living document, and as we have data that's available to us that is replicable in a way that makes sense, not just to the professionals, but also to lay people, we are going to make sure that it's available to our public. This work being arduous, as I said before, was because we have two leaders who were very, very adamant in the way that we want this information to look. And we're working with PowerSchool, who is the agent that is a platform for the data that we are making available to you, and making sure that they meet our needs as opposed to us succumbing to what it is that they're able to offer. And that work was led by our own Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Olivine Roberts, and coupled with our Director for Data and all of that good stuff, assessment and assessment, accountability, and research, Mr. James Anderson. So with that, I'm going to turn over the microphone to Dr. Roberts, and she will be joined by Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Thank you very much. Good evening, Board President William I. Nuzzi, board members, Superintendent Reynolds, and the community. As Dr. Reynolds has stated, joining me tonight is Jim, we call him Jim, he prefers to be called Jim Anderson, who serves as the Director of Assessment, Accountability, and Research. We're pleased tonight to finally, unveil the first iteration of our Community Engagement Dashboard, which is a part of our overall district data warehouse dashboard. In doing so, we will firstly set the stage by providing context. Secondly, providing an overview of our community engagement dashboard, which will include a guided tour. And lastly, end with how we poised to be moving forward. So in setting the context, as always, we begin with our why. It is important that we frame every conversation with the reason we wake up each and every day. And as such, we remain committed to ensuring our work is anchored to our district's vision, mission, and equity vision, and is in service to us accomplishing the goals and objectives outlined in our strategic roadmap. As previously shared, if you recall, last year we actually introduced the district warehouse dashboard to you. During that presentation, we actually shared the various phases of this work. So as previously shared, the implementation of the data warehouse dashboard is a multi-phased initiative, which began last school year with the creation of the internal dashboard consisting of classroom data, displaying attendance, academic progress, and student performance, both state and district level data. Tonight, we will launch the creation of Phase 2, our public-facing community dashboard. From here, we will move to the construction of Phase 3, the risk analysis and student readiness dashboard, which will showcase our behavior data, our K-12 early warning indicator system, which will be used to flag students who are not on track for meeting our graduation requirements starting in kinder. So this is not a high school segment or component of the dashboard, but it is in service to ensure that the graduate profile that we brought to you a few months ago, we're actually meeting the requirements of that graduate profile and positioning each and every student for success beyond their time with the City School District of New Rochelle. We anticipate the unveiling of Phase 3 at the beginning of the 25-26 school year, just managing expectations. As Dr. Reynolds has stated, this has been an arduous task, and so we want to make certain we do not overpromise and underdeliver. Our final phase is the human capital and financial data, which will be uploaded into the data warehouse starting this summer of 2026. I draw your attention to the arrows that title each of the phases. You will notice that they extend beyond the launch year. That was intentionally done. This means that as we begin a new phase, we're simultaneously continuing the work on the previous phase or phases. This year, our focus is what is highlighted in purple, the community engagement dashboard. So, being purpose-driven, it is equally as important that we speak specifically to the purpose of this community engagement dashboard. It is to serve as a central repository system that will bring together our district's data from multiple sources into a single online reporting dashboard for the community, displaying snapshots of relevant data and school-level data used to denote and monitor our progress towards the attainment of the goals and the objectives of the strategic directions as outlined in our strategic roadmap. At this time, Mr. Anderson will come and he will not only provide an overview of the community engagement dashboard, but will also facilitate a guided tour. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Everybody hear me okay? All right, thank you. So good evening all. As Dr. Roberts mentioned, I'm here to provide a guided tour of our now live community engagement dashboard. So the dashboard itself can be accessed on our webpage by scrolling down to this icon here for the community engagement dashboard. So for this guided tour, you're welcome to follow along on the monitors around the room, or I will try to call out what slide we are in your handout. So starting with slide number 12, when you first log in, this will be our district's homepage here. Depending on the size of your screen that you're viewing this on, because it's available on iPhones or phones, I should say, tablet devices, computer screens, the layout might be a little bit different. So you'll see here, my navigation is up in the upper right-hand corner, which will allow me to navigate to the different tabs. Some folks might have the tabs going across the top here. So I just wanted to call that out before really getting into each and every aspect of this dashboard itself. So we are currently on the home page. If we see on our homepage as we scroll down, there is a narrative just explaining, talking a little bit about our district itself. We list out our vision, our mission, our equity vision, and our core beliefs. Scrolling down a little bit further on the homepage, we provide some enrollment data as of June 1st. And this enrollment data for the district is disaggregated by the various ethnicities within our district. As Dr. Reynolds mentioned, this is our first iteration of this dashboard. So in the future, what we are hoping to see is more dynamic data that is updated monthly. And not only just updated monthly, but will allow for monthly trends to be viewed by our end users. So that will be forthcoming in future iterations. But as far as now, this data is as of June 1st. And then at the bottom of the screen here is a way for end users to contact us if there's any questions regarding this dashboard. So if they click the tab here, they can send us an email and ask any questions they might have regarding the dashboard itself. For more information, this tab here will take the end user to the district's website. So moving to slide number 11 in your handout, if you go back up to your navigation, the school list tab here provides a list of all of our schools within the district. So each school will have its own devoted school profile page. And on this page here is a narrative for each of our schools enrollment data as of June 1st, enrollment data over time, year-to-date attendance numbers, enrollment by grade, enrollment by gender, ethnicity, and student group. So students with IEPs and our English language learners. I should state here, just like for the district page or the home page, this data will be more dynamic in the future and will be updated on a monthly basis. At the bottom of the page is the hourly operations for each school, as well as the leadership team of the school itself. So that is the school profile page that each of our schools will have. And again, for future iterations, we'll be adding more data to each of these these school pages itself. The next three tabs, the district strategic roadmap, strategic direction objectives, and strategic direction objective comparison, really illuminate and bring to life the data that's living in our strategic roadmap. As Dr. Reynolds mentioned, we want to be as transparent as possible with all of our stakeholders And this dashboard really allows us to do so. So starting with the district strategic roadmap, which is now slide 12 in your handout. This page here provides an overview of the roadmap itself, the roadmap's purpose. It lists each of the 4 directions of student learning, superb staff, safe, supporting, connected schools, and resource management, and provides an overview for each of the directions itself. The introductory videos that are available on our website in English and Spanish are also available on the page here. And if you scroll to the bottom, this link here will take you to a PDF copy of the complete strategic roadmap. The next tab is the strategic direction objectives. This is now slide number 13. This page here follows the same format as the PDF of the strategic roadmap. It's going to list each direction's objective, the strategies that will be used to meet that objective, as well as the metrics we are using to evaluate our progress in meeting the stated objective. So for student learning, objective A, these metrics here will be used to evaluate our progress to meeting the objective. So you see here, we have our ELA objective, which displays our proficiency as per the New York State 3 through 8 assessments, the ELA regions, and the STAR ELA assessment. The bar shows where we currently are. So we are currently at 45%. This faded purple line is our baseline. So our baseline, we started at 45.7%. And our end goal, so at the end of the strategic plan, which is the 26-27 school year, we want our proficiency rate to be at 64%. So similar for the mathematics metric here, you see we have our baseline in purple, where we want to be here in this orange pinkish color, and then the bar displays where we currently are as a district. So where available, these metrics will be displayed to show again our progress of meeting that objective. But we are still in the process of collecting data for certain metrics and creating these objectives. So this is our initial iteration of this dashboard. So as soon as we collect the data and build out the metrics that are associated with the some of the missing metrics, I should say, they will be made available on this site. So you see for superb staff, this layout is the same, where we have an objective and the strategies, but we do not have the metrics yet listed, but that will be forthcoming as soon as that data is readily available. But we do have metrics available for recruitment platforms, as well as staff attendance, and for safe and supportive connected schools, very similar layout as far as having the objective, the strategies used, and where available, the metrics used to evaluate our progress. When we get to the resource management direction, the layout is the same. However, when we look at these metrics here, we felt that it was better to display these data in tabular format, since it's very qualitative in nature. But you still have the same data point itself with a baseline, where we currently are and where we will be as far as our end goal itself. If I go back to the top of this page, there is the ability to filter this data. So for navigation purposes, if I just want to look at one objective without having to scroll through, I can select that direction and it will bring me back the information just for that direction itself. I should point out here, to clear a filter, you could X off or click clear filters, and the page will refresh and bring back all the original data. For the student learning objectives, we have available filters that will allow end users to disaggregate the data based on students' race, ethnicity, IEP status, as well as eligibility. So users can select one or more subgroups. And when they select those subgroups, the metrics will update to bring in the data for each respective subgroup. So now you can compare how certain subgroups are doing compared to each other, as well as compared to the district itself. So what that is available for the student learning metrics, and again, this is our first iteration. So in the future, we will be building in filters that allow the metrics for the other directions to be filterable as well. And the final portion of our community engagement dashboard is the strategic direction objective comparison tab. This tab here will allow end users the opportunity to compare metrics side by side. So if I wanted to see how our students were doing with ELA proficiency compared to, let's say, chronic absenteeism, I could select the two metrics. And now I could view these metrics side by side. Or if I wanted to look at ELA performance against, we could say, graduation rates. All right, so yep, it will bring back our proficiency for ELA, and you can see a comparison to where we are with graduation. Again, we're available with the student learning metrics. This data can be filtered by subgroup information, so you could select one or more subgroups. And now you can compare multiple subgroups for that metric across different metrics. So with that, that was just a brief high-level overview of the community engagement dashboard itself. Again, it is up and live now, so we definitely encourage you to explore on your own. And again, if any questions come about, you're more than welcome to click on that Contact Us tab and send your questions our way. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, never mind.
Sorry. That was just a guided tour. If you want, we can pause here, though. Okay. Okay, thank you, Jim. So as I alluded to earlier, as we start a new phase, we will continue to build out the phases that we have already launched. And so, as we move forward, we have two areas of focus that this slide reflects this dual approach of new work as well as continued work. So we will continue to develop the internal dashboard, which displays the classroom data that I spoke about earlier, as well as continuing to build out this new community dashboard. While doing so, we will begin the development of the internal dashboard, which will focus and showcase our risk analysis and student readiness modules. And lastly, year after next, we will commence with the development of the internal dashboard displaying our, our human capital and financial modules. And so that concludes our presentation, and we welcome your questions at this time.
Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Mr. Vega?
Just a quick comment. I just want to thank you all and everyone who worked on that. I know that this type of dashboard and data warehouse is not. It takes a lot of time and effort. So I appreciate it and look forward to the updates in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Brooks?
Thank you guys so much. It's hard to overstate how overdue this kind of a product is for our community. So I really, really appreciate the work that went into this. I guess I have lots of like little questions, which I will not, I recognize this is iterative, so I'm not going to actually go into the like, well, could we do this and we could do that? Although if you want a beta tester, I'm always happy to play that role.
Well, you can send us your ideas.
I'm happy to, but I won't do that now. I won't bore everyone with that. But I do have a thought, which is thinking about a couple of things. How we can really make this accessible to large numbers of people. I'm thinking of PTAs, et cetera, through trainings on both how to use it, but also how to interpret the data. It would be really great to build that into the rollout in the next year as you're sort of tinkering around. And in particular, I'm thinking of our students. I'm thinking of our AP statistics students. I'm thinking of our other students, really allowing them to see the data that reflects their experience and using that as a learning opportunity feels like really exciting because it would be something that they would actually, it would apply to their actual real life. So I guess I'm just putting a plug for some using this dashboard, both for you to get impact on how people use it so that you can then see like what's, maybe you meant it a certain way, but people don't interpret that way, but also to give our community really a deeper data literacy over time using data that affects their lives. So thank you very, very, very much.
Thank you. We welcome those opportunities and know, yes, in terms of our community being able to internalize the data, we will be partnering with the FACE office, the Office of Family, and Community Engagement to ensure that as we are meeting with our PTAs next year, that not only are they being introduced to the dashboard, but Jim will be my partner and will be showcasing how we can actually analyze the data to see where we are relative to the attainment of the goals in the strategic roadmap. So great ideas. Thank you.
Ms. Ross?
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to go home and start playing with it and see kind of what information is in there. And I guess it's to what you were just alluding to is the analysis of the information. So how will we have this kind of utilized throughout our district, right? So that whether it's weekly meetings or monthly when you guys are reviewing it, so that people are keeping on top of how people are making progress or not making progress or kind of moving towards the goals. Like, what's the plan to start really leveraging the tool as something that each of the departments can kind of utilize to continue to get better?
So this dashboard will not necessarily be used by the internal staff. Right?
Okay.
That's why we have the internal dashboard, which is more robust because it gives us granular level data at the student level, where that's where change occurs. Right. So we'll continue to build, which we have already begun, the capacity of our staff to utilize the internal dashboard. This is a community-facing one, which will be, as I shared, we'll be working and partnering with PTAs. And if schools would want us to come out and do a larger community-wide presentation, we're open to that.
Right.
But the internal staff will be maximizing and capitalizing on the use of the internal dashboards.
Oh, okay. I guess I never realized that the team was actually using this, that this was live for our internal teams.
Yeah, we launched that last year.
And I remember the presentation, but I didn't recall that people are actually using it. So that's great news. And I guess, will we continue to build and enhance the data for our internal teams, right? So I'm excited to have it for our community, but also just for the internal teams to continue to leverage.
So if I draw your attention back to the Travis. This slide. Okay. So if you notice, I'll draw your attention to phase 3.
Okay.
Which will be work next year. Not only are we building this dashboard, but if you notice the arrow that starts with phase 1, that it goes above all of the other phases, we will continue to build out the internal dashboard. So where it says classroom data, attendance, academic progress, assessment, student profile, we have some data there now. We do not have everything. So we'll continue to build out various displays that will make it more robust for our schools to have a one-stop shop. So instead of them going to this site and then going to Star and somewhere else, the intent of having the internal dashboard is for our schools to go to one place to see everything that pertains to their students, our students. So we'll continue to build that out. Do they have access to everything now? No.
Got it.
Will they in time? Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Williams?
Hey, thank you, Dr. Roberts, Mr. Anderson, and your team for using data to develop, implement, and sustain the community dashboard. And thank you for making the community engagement dashboard understandable and flexible so that the new data will lead us to answering the old questions that we have and any new questions that might arrive based on the new data. And I'm really excited about this because, like, this new look at data, I feel will give us a way to address solutions for different or novel problems that might occur. And I appreciate you laying it out in the phases so that we can understand and digest the information so that we can understand the data that's being presented and use that information to consider our next steps. And I really like the infographic that you have on slide number 7 with the phases. Phase 1 was last year, and this year will be phase 2, and then so on and so on. And also, I like the way that you told us that this is something that is like a living kind of dashboard. So as we know more, we'll do more or just do things differently. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Clayton?
So this is fantastic. I had a question though, of having a long life of students I've known over the years. Do we at any point put a little bit of historical significance in, even though it's going forward? Does it go backwards to show the platform a little or no?
At this time, no, we
Okay.
have not archived any previous data.
Okay.
That is something we can explore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the second question is, as these students engage with some of the extra resources, early intervention, extra platforms to build their learning skills, how will that data be implemented so we kind of see the track record of success?
So in speaking of, do you mind? No worries. Thank you. So in speaking of interventions, right? So for example, if you look at phase 3 where it says MTSS, that is our multi-tiered system of supports that really directs and informs the processes that we use to address and support our students, who we call our striving learners. They have not yet reached the proficiency level that we desire. So that MTSS platform that will be a part of our larger data warehouse will actually inform our schools as to where our students are in regard to the interventions that are being administered, and will give us real-time data that will inform when we need to pivot and how we need to pivot.
I had a very similar question to Ms. Clayton. I was going to ask about any historical data, but the other question is, like, say we're in 2026 now. How can you look back on what like the 23 data was? Okay,
Yes, we'll archive going forward.
Perfect.
We just did not bring any previous data. Because of COVID,
Yeah.
we have some inconsistencies with the data. So we really wanted to provide data that we have confidence in.
Mm.
And so we're starting with fresh, and then going forward, everything will be archived.
Perfect. And then the other question was more a suggestion. I will get in the granular level, but like at the homepage, for example, when you scroll down, you have the total enrollment by ethnicity. It would be helpful too to have that number also be a percentage, just so you can see exactly the what the percentage of like Hispanic students out of the 9814 is.
Thank you for that. We'll add that for September.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda is liaison reports. Do any of my colleagues have any liaison reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to convene into the public comment period of the meeting. The Board of Education adopted policy 1230 in April 2022 to ensure all members of the public have the opportunity to speak at both of our board meetings each month. We believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a discussion. Accordingly, understand the board will not respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. We will, however, respond to your questions and concerns at a future meeting or have the proper staff member get back to you at the appropriate time. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel and students. Please know, however, that we take personnel concerns very seriously. On these matters, we would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Finally, we recognize that right now our nation and our community are polarized on a number of issues. That said, we want our school board meetings to serve as an example to our students that members of our school board and members of our community can deal with controversial issues in a civil manner and demonstrate mutual respect for one another. In that spirit, we will insist that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect for any divergent views that others possess. We ask that speakers please address their comments to the board directly rather than the audience. In the unlikely event the meeting becomes unruly, the board will recess the meeting and return once order has been restored. Finally, I want to remind everyone that you may submit written comments to the board in lieu of speaking during the public comment period if you so choose. Tonight, we have set aside 30 minutes for public comment, where each speaker who has signed up before 3:30 today has 3 minutes to speak. If a person requests to speak after 3:30, speakers may sign up in person at the meeting with the clerk and will be afforded the opportunity to speak. Our first speaker of the night is Mr. Malfitano.
Hello, good evening. Vince Malfitano. Just a couple of items to talk about. First, again, I'm still waiting for a concrete answer. What is the plan to try to keep knives and guns out of our high school? I haven't heard anything yet. Free speech, I brought it up, it's been discussed. Maybe some of the new board members take this to heart. The open meetings law needs to be amended to actually guarantee people the right to speak. Right now, it's only by your leave, as we were warned. If you actually believe in free speech, let's do something about it. Look into it, will you please? Another item to talk about, on this plan, the class demographics. Is it possible, because I know there's been discussion over the years about the disparity of minorities versus white students in our advanced classes and also in our special ed. Will we be able to, on this dashboard, be able to do a deep dive to look at the demographics of classes, the AP classes and such? I'd like to know. If it's on your thing, maybe you can bring it into the public realm. That's important to know. Right now, it's kind of very vague. Another thing to talk about, of course, maybe some of the new members, the rather horrible thing that this board did some years ago in insulting the Italian community by making a political statement by, out of 365 days of the year, picking at random Columbus Day to recognize indigenous people. What a stupid thing to do. Of course, if you're political, it was very, very welcome by some. But I suggested the day after Thanksgiving. It's the Pilgrim story, and it's a more hopeful story rather than the hateful woke politics that some of you seem so happily to embrace. It's rather unfortunate for our district, so I'm asking our new board members to ask their colleagues, why did we do that? without really discussing this with the public. Really an ugly thing to do. So revisit that. It would be a help. But on the larger questions that raised before our district, I do hope that some of the new board members actually begin to look a little bit more deeply at some of these questions of equity in terms of our politics in town. To that end, one of the contracts, I think it's number 8, you're going to be voting on for Yvette Robinson. I think she wrote that book, Pedagogy of Confidence. Interesting. She's going to talk to you guys for an hour and a half about inspiring you and what great work you've done. And then she's going to answer questions for a half an hour for $5,000. That pays for an aide for the entire summer. Is it really worth it? So let's look at how we're spending our money. I don't know. Maybe she's somebody's friend. I don't know.
Thank you, Ms. Malfitano. Would anybody else like to sign up for public comment tonight? Dr. Rivera McCutcheon and then Ms. Tanner.
Good evening, Rosa Rivera McCutcheon, 31 Faneuil Place. I just want to thank the board and the district for moving ahead with the dashboard. That is a critical tool that the community needs. Obviously, it's needed for the Board of Education and for the district leadership as well as the schools. I really want to commend the recommendation, however, that is something that is very quickly promulgated within the community so that people have access to it, people can actually engage in it. I think absolutely AP stats students can engage with that data, but I think it's only as useful as the community is aware of how to use that data to advocate for all of our children. I want to just reiterate my support and continued support for the board's vote quite a while ago to actually observe Indigenous Peoples Day on Columbus Day. Unlike some members of the community I don't necessarily think that the way that we've historically celebrated that day with only Columbus is something that is a happy story for a universally happy story. And so I just want to once again reiterate my my support of that, my continued and ongoing support of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. McCutcheon. Ms. Otilia Tanner.
Hi, good evening. So I'm here in representing SEPTA, and I'm here to ask questions regarding special ed, and I'm also here as myself as a citizen. So first, thank you for the data, the dashboard, Jim, thank you. I know that it was mentioned that English and Spanish are on the dashboard, but I'm thinking about some of our students at Columbus. There's one who is Haitian Creole, another student that we have speaks Ukrainian. He's from the Ukraine. So it'd be nice maybe if we can consider other languages instead of, in addition to Spanish, we can include some of the other languages, French, Ukrainian, and French Creole. Also, is it possible for the data dashboard to have how we rank nationwide? So I'm curious, and I'm sure other folks will want to know how New Rochelle ranks with our neighboring schools. Also, I'm curious about the suspension rate by demographic. Is that available on the data board, on the data dashboard? So now, as the person who's representing SEPTA, there's some questions from the SEPTA community. So resolution number 24387, there's some questions regarding the dormant accounts, district enrichment, more than $57,000 are available. How will this money be spent equitably? Secondly, thank you for finally coming up with full-day co-teaching kindergarten classes. So SEPTA families have been asking for this and asking for full-day co-teach elementary classes for kindergarten to start. So far it's been reported that we have at least 23 students that require support with an IEP. And there's some concerns that 2 classrooms won't be enough. So we might need to consider more classrooms, more than 2 kindergarten co-teach classrooms. So the community wanted to make sure that this was on in everyone's awareness now before September to really look at it closely, especially since kindergarten screening is not happening. Right now, we are not screening kindergartners. We may actually have children coming in kindergarten age that might need some support and may need 504s or IEPs eventually. Then we'll have a real issue if we have at least 23 documented students now with an IEP going to kindergarten co-teach classrooms. So that's my report, my question, and my representation for SEPTA as well. I
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to sign up for public comment tonight? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our personnel resolutions. I am going to ask Vice President Brooks to call this vote because I will be abstaining due to some family members and people that work at my job on these resolutions.
Colleagues, can I get a motion and a second to approve consent agenda for personnel resolutions number 24-381, 1 through 2, number 24-382, 1 through 6, number 24-383, 1 through 35, number 24-384, 1 through 14, and number 24-385, 1 through 33, according to the recommended action for each item.
So move Vega.
Second, Lewis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vice President Brooks. Next up is our consent agenda for general resolutions. Colleagues, can I get a motion and a second to approve consent agenda for general resolutions number 24-386 through number 24-393, according to the recommended action for each item?
So moved, Ross.
Second, Lewis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So our next meeting will be the annual reorganizational meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd, 7 p.m. here at Central Administration. We'll be swearing in the re-elected members and doing also a ceremonial swearing again of the new members. And we will be having elections for leadership and really re-voting on everything that we have to re-vote on. So we hope to see you there. There will be a light reception after the meeting to celebrate the re-election and the new election members. Good night, everyone. Have a great one. Oh, wait. Sorry. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Brooks.
Second, Ross.
All